Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. Anyone who finds Platinum Suite 4 deserves a prize, so well done. Let me introduce myself. I'm Paul Richer. I run Genesys Digital Transformation. And for those of you who haven't seen me before, let me just explain what I do. Genesys Digital Transformation is a management consultancy, and we work with travel companies, large ones, and some of the smallest companies as well. So one of my clients at the moment is a villas company, which is a family business, and just helping them with the whole area of digital transformation, which is a new buzzword. I've been doing this for a few years now, giving talks, and I don't think the term digital transformation was invented a few years ago. It's quite a recent term. But what it's all about is really addressing where your customers are today. They're online, and they're increasingly on the mobile, and we are having to more and more think about how can we reach those customers in the best possible way, and how can we understand our customers in the best possible way, and how can we use technology to make our businesses operationally efficient. Because if you're using technology well, then your business is like a well-oiled machine. It just ticks along very nicely. I remember pre-internet helping a tour operator client of mine who had no computer system whatsoever. And I did say, you do know when we get a computer reservation system in, you'll no longer need that lady who checks the invoices before they go out, because no one will be typing the invoices anymore. They'll come out of the computer system and they'll be correct. Actually, and that was a long time ago. I visited that company last week. Funnily enough, that lady's still there, but she doesn't check the invoices anymore. She does something else. So you'll see now that I've actually split the morning into two sessions. First of all, we're going to hear from established players who have been adapting and developing and moving their businesses forward, which is almost a more difficult thing to do than when we get onto the second half of the morning, which is our new entrants and new business models people who are able to take fresh thinking to how they actually go about their businesses and don't have any legacy systems, legacy business processes, or even, dare I say, legacy people. Because in my time, I have found that when I'm in at a travel company trying to get new technology in, and it's all going wrong, sometimes it's because personnel within that travel company just don't want the new technology or can't grasp the new technology. So the new entrants have a chance to just have a clean sweep at everything. So we're starting with our first three speakers. Let me introduce them to you. Furthest away from me is Arnaud Masson. He's Chief Operating Officer of Voyage SNCF. Been around a long time, and Arnaud, I think you've been busy embracing the online world just continually, haven't you?
Years ago, but I also used to work for the Eurostar in London, so that's why I'm absolutely delighted to be back here today in that sunny, warm London, yeah, that's the digital story that we are going to see started in 2004 for Voyage.
Not so warm here. Hands up who'd like the exhibition in Hawaii next year. Yeah, only if we get our fares paid. In the middle is Claire. Claire Hazel is the Director of Marketing and E-Commerce at Cosmos, Archer Holidays, and Avalon Waterways UK. I was talking to Claire before, and some of you will know that Cosmos was one of the original coach tour operators. And coach tour operating is not thought as very sexy now, but actually it's a big part of your business, isn't it, Claire?
Yeah, it's still the core of what we offer, along with beach holidays and private touring. So yeah, a really sort of broad spread, but escorted tours are still really at the heart of what we do.
Good, lovely. And the last but not least is Daniel Wishner, who's digital marketing consultant at GCH Hotels. He'll tell you about GCH, but there's a lot of very well-known brand hotels. And Daniel, I've seen you at a few conferences. Anything new, like his 360-degree camera here, he just embraces new technology. And actually, you'll show us that it does actually work for your hotels.
Yes. I will try to explain what we are doing actually, not only theoretically, but what it's working and just tools, how to do it. So this is part of my presentation.
Lovely, okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite our 3 speakers to make presentations. And then when they've each made a presentation, there's our chance then to ask them questions. So if any questions pop into your head while they're presenting, keep them there. And then I'll have a microphone run round to you at a panel session time, and you can ask your questions. I've also asked the speakers if they can make their presentations available to us. So you don't need to take notes if you don't want to. Just on the way out, leave your business cards with the young ladies, and I'll drop you an email when the presentations are online. All okay about that? Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our first speaker. Let's welcome Arno.
Thank you. So I'm Arnaud Masson. I'm the COO of Voyage SNCF. And I'm going to talk to you about the exciting train industry and the voyagesncf.com website, which is operating since 2000 in Europe and especially in France as well. There is a clicker here. And as I told you, I'm really, happy to be here in London because I'm back to London after I spent six years there and I had some fantastic memories and experience. I worked for the Eurostar and we moved actually the Eurostar operations from Waterloo to St. Pancras. So I remember the grand event when we met the Queen. I met the Queen. For a Frenchman, that was quite impressive. And also personally, we raised our 3 kids in this exciting and vibrant city, and we come back to that a bit later on. And yes, basically what we need to know about Voyage SNCF is that we are the leader in e-commerce. We are the #1 website in France, far beyond the number 2 and 3. And we sell train tickets to almost 12 million people a month every year. Here you'll find a few examples of who our clients are, who we distribute these tickets train for. So just a few glimpses of all the train carriers that we operate for. And we are a almost 4.5 billion euro business, which translates into 83 million tickets each month. These are 2015 figures. And each year, 83 million tickets each year, 2015. And we are also very mobile because we have 13 million apps downloaded last year. So basically, if we talk about the digital history, it started in the year 2000. That was when my eldest daughter was born. And unlike her, we haven't yet experienced a teenager crisis, MyCom, but we are still the same. We pursue our adventure and our digital journey on the same mode and the same mood. And I can summarize that with the audacity word, which is an example of, because what we're trying to do, we set new features, new services, and we put them on the market to see how it works. For instance, I give you a couple of examples. We have Leah, which was our digital customer relationship help that was launched in 2006. We have a couple of features that I will present you, which are Mon Voyage and the Facebook Messenger bot, which have been developed with our customers, because all of that is actually based on customer feedback and customer survey that we want to use in order to launch the service, the best service, and to improve the customer experience and have that sort of wow factor that nowadays the customers are expecting when they go onto the net. So basically, what we want to become is a specialist not only of the e-tourism industry, but we want to move from e-tourism to smart tourism. So we want to become the leader of smart tourism, and I'll try to define what does that mean exactly with the following slides. we need to listen to customer. It sounds very obvious, and everyone says that. But when you do that, it's not only putting some silly pop-ups that are supposed to represent what your navigation was before and try to sell you extra services. It's actually more than that. We gather our customers, and we try to get what they think about the navigation, about the website, about the service, what is missing, what they find really great and what they find not so great, so that we can adapt our services and features. So we construct our website with them. And we do that with a lot of what we call agility, because we've got something like, well, we are 1,000 staff company. Out of that, 1/3, 300 engineers developing new features, and we've organized these engineers in 15 what we call feature teams, which work as little startups within the company with a lot of power to develop what the customer feedback actually says and gives as hints in order to give new services. So we call, by the way, this gathering of customer our love team, and I will come back onto that a bit later on. So we are not doing the innovation for the sake of it, because otherwise it's not very useful for the customers. And rather than talking you through the different and the detailed services, I'm going to show you a film that is actually coming out of what our love team said. And don't get carried over. The film from the love team stays very professional. It's the description of what Mon Voyage is.
Acheter vos billets de train en quelques clics, facile. Mais parfois, les à côté vous compliquent la tâche. Retrouver son billet, l'échanger, organiser son voyage sur place. En vous écoutant, nous avons compris qu'on pouvait vous simplifier encore plus la vie. C'est pourquoi nous avons créé Mon Voyage, un nouvel espace 100% personnalisé pour faciliter votre voyage après l'achat de votre billet de train. Il vous permet d'accéder à vos informations de voyage plus facilement, depuis votre mobile, tablette ou ordinateur. En fait, il est un peu comme un compagnon de voyage, toujours à vos côtés, prêt à vous renseigner. Il vous donne l'heure de votre départ, votre numéro de voiture, votre numéro de place et bien sûr, votre e-billet. Si vous changez d'avis, il vous aide à échanger ou annuler facilement vos billets. Il vous propose même des solutions de transport depuis la gare, jusqu'à votre point de rendez-vous. Et ce n'est qu'un début. Demain, Mon Voyage vous donnera la météo à destination et vous proposera des idées d'hébergement. Il vous guidera pendant votre voyage vers les meilleurs restaurants, vous suggérera des idées d'activités sympas à faire sur place et des sites à découvrir. Mon Voyage sera un véritable guide de voyage personnalisé. Bien entendu, on compte sur vous pour nous donner votre avis. C'est votre espace, on le fabrique avec vous selon vos besoins. Merci pour vos retours et bon voyage.
Right, so this is an example of a little film that we put on our website to explain what is the new service. Basically, here what you have is a sort of digital assistant for your travel. And it's very simple to use, but you need to raise the awareness of the customers about all the services they can find on the website with that sort of videos. The second example is the Facebook bot messenger, and potentially I need to ask you what is your favorite city in France before I run it, because we've chosen one, but maybe you'll see. And I'm sorry for those who can speak French. It's in French. I'll try to translate. I will translate for the rest of the crowd. But do you have any favorite city? Marseille, Bordeaux? Deauville. Which one? Deauville. Okay, sorry, it's going to be Bordeaux, but it's. I was hoping for the wine or something. Someone who raised the hand, but Deauville is great as well. And let's have a look at the Facebook Messenger, how it works. Basically, if you want to go but you don't know exactly where, you can ask our chatbot, who is not a robot. It's much better than that. And here he will contact you, say, "Hi, Florian. I can help you. How can I help you? And where do you want to go?" And he says, "Bordeaux. The wine, nice weather, fantastic city, #1 in the TripAdvisor place to visit in the world." And then you can actually activate an option to get a train ticket You put your name and email address, and then this is put into the system. Still an option. You're not committed to the train ticket. And what the system does, it's a few days before departure, it will remind you that you've got this option open and ask you, do you really want to go to Bordeaux on that day? So you just have to pay your option now, one click, and it's done. So that's the kind of digital tool that our customers have told us that they would like to have on our website so that they can have easy access to trains, so that it can be smooth, seamless, and facilitate their life, rather than going onto the station, in front of the counter. And we'll see that we want to push that further. So that's the reality. It's, by the way, this one is currently only available in France, and we roll it out in the different countries, and it will be rolled out in 2017. And we have other things that we develop in our labs. We are at lab stage for these ones, for instance, because what you've seen with Facebook Messenger can be done also with voice command. So we work a lot on the interface, the human interface with our customers. We also work on the Google Masks so that you can choose with eyesight the destination and also look at the different places that you can visit in that destination. And this is who we are. Basically, we want to bring these lab technologies into the reality. So I told you about my daughter, but what we actually are developing are the services of my grandchildren, which is a bit scary because I don't feel that old. Our grandchildren will probably see much more than that, and we want to push that much quicker so that we see this by 2019, where we think we can be the champion of smart tourism. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Arno. That was interesting. I saw you mention Amazon Echo. I just got an Echo Dot. Who's got an Amazon Echo already? Oh, okay. Not that many of you. Not you, Daniel. I'm surprised. Fabulous. You sit in the kitchen and you ask it the weather. You ask it to tell you a joke and add things to your shopping list. Voice is an interesting future. And ladies and gentlemen, let's look at our next business that's making transformations. Let's welcome Claire from Cosmos.
Hello. As Paul said, I'm the Director of Marketing and E-commerce at Cosmos. I joined the business at the end of June, so I'm still quite the new girl at the moment. But what I'm going to do is just spend a little bit of time talking through our digital transformation program that we've just started embarking on. And I guess we're a little bit different in that we are very, very privileged to have an established heritage brand. With that comes its own unique challenges. But in actual fact, in the UK, we're a really small team. So we're only a team of 75 of us based up in lovely Bromley. So we have the mixed challenges of being a small business, whereas we've got a fairly hefty brand behind us. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Cosmos, we started out in 1928. Our founder, Antonio Mantegazza, bought a rowing boat and decided to row visitors across Lake Lugano in Switzerland and sort of point out the sights around them as he did so. And I love these old pictures. I think they're fantastic. And in the 1930s, his ambitions grew, as did his fleet. He switched from having a rowing boat to having a fleet of coaches. And through that decade, his fleet grew to 33, and he partnered with a gentleman called Werner Albeck. And together they established the company Globus Viaggi. So in the 1960s, this is where Cosmos was launched in the UK. So the Cosmos brand offered European escorted tours and package holidays, and that's probably what we're best known for these days. And these escorted tours went global in the 1980s. So today we're a very different business. As I said earlier on, at the heart is still our escorted tours, but now we also sell private tours, we sell cruises, we have long-haul beach holidays, and we also sell Avalon Waterways, river cruises, and safaris there. It makes me just want to go on holiday when I see those pictures. So the challenge that we have, as I say, we are a heritage brand. We have about a 30% prompted awareness at the moment in the UK. And the challenge that we have, though, is that people quite often still see us in relation to these two images on this slide. So they still see us as being that sort of package holiday provider, and that group of lovely ladies on the right-hand side in terms of some very inaccurate perceptions around what a coach holiday actually is. So the challenge that we have is how do we really retain that real sort of essence that we have, the value that we have in the heritage of our brand, whilst really transforming our business so that we become much more relevant to today's consumers. And we know from some research that we've just been running in the last few weeks, about 60% of our customers and non-customers cite heritage, trust, and reputation amongst the sort of the top three factors for driving their choice of holiday operator. So, that heritage is really something that we don't want to lose. So when I joined, I came in with this dilemma and thought, well, how do we retain that balance? And I thought it was helpful to look outside of the travel industry, actually. And Burberry really sprang to mind because, they're a British, a well-established brand. They've been around since 1856. And if you think back to sort of the early 2000s, that luxury brand was, really sort of devalued in terms of affordability and sort of, the feeling that people had about the brand. And that was driven by some really low pricing, accessibility of some of the sort of smaller accessories. And Burberry went from being a very sort of well-known and desirable brand to sort of this symbol of chav check. And lovely Daniela Westbrook on the left really kind of sums that up quite beautifully. And it went from being very desirable to being a brand of great ridicule. And that was reflected in their share price. So how Burberry transformed themselves was really by putting digital at the heart of their operation. So they really focused on their core products. So they still focused on the core trench coat and scarves. It always helps to have a celebrity endorsement if you have the budget. But what was really key was they set out with a very clear view of being the first fully luxury digital brand. And in doing so, they put digital all the way through their operations in store. They completely transformed how they worked online. All of their sales agents in their stores will have iPads to have access to the online catalogue. They're real early adopters in terms of social as well. So it was a really core part of how they then turned around their business rather than as an add-on. And again, that reflected in their 2016 share price, which is now hovering around sort of the 1,460p mark. So that's all very well for millennials, all very well for a brand that's got lots and lots of money. But, older people aren't online, are they? And if I'd had £1 for every time I've heard this during my career, I'd be a very rich woman and not stood on this stage. And it's an interesting dilemma because, older people aren't as online as younger people. But they are there, they are online. And part of the challenge that we have is around how to actually engage with older people online. And their online behaviour is very, very different, obviously, to younger audiences, for who being digital natives, it comes much more as second nature to them. And affluence is a real key factor in terms of your propensity to be online if you're an older person. So we can't just assume that because people are older they're not online, because that's an absolute myth. So I talk quite a lot about digital transformation at various events, and I think this quote really sums up one of the key sort of tensions around digital transformation. And it's the tendency to start with the technology rather than starting with the customer. And this quote by Steve Jobs sums it up quite nicely, actually, because, really core to digital transformation is putting the customer at the heart of everything that you do rather than starting with a technological solution. Because if you start to build something nice and shiny over here, you're building in a vacuum and not really starting with what your customers actually want. So for Cosmos, what does that mean? So this is our vision, and our vision is to be the natural choice for inspirational holiday adventures crafted with simplicity and care. And again, what does that really mean? So unpacking our vision, excuse the puns, sorry about that. So to be the natural choice, it means that we need to increase our brand awareness. It means we need to increase our brand relevance. It also means that we need to be able to create that compelling proposition that really appeals to customers. It means that we need to be able to leverage advocacy and customer loyalty. And it also means that we need to look at our brand reach and how we actually distribute our products. And digital is key to all of those. So the inspirational holiday adventures part, this, digital will then needs to touch our product development, so in terms of how we engage with customers through the new product development process. And it also means that we need to be able to create consistent end-to-end processes. So there's, again, no point delivering something lovely, shiny and digital over here when the rest of the customer experience is very, very different. It needs to be consistent all the way through. And crucially as well for us, particularly working in the travel industry, we're very, very lucky to have such wonderful content at our fingertips. And as we know, content is such a massive part of being a digital business today. And it needs to be content that really engages and inspires people. And a lot of that is content that's actually provided by our passengers rather than content that's provided by us. So crafted with simplicity and crafted with care. So again, what does that mean? So crafted with simplicity, it means that we're looking at how we employ automation and how we implement lean processes. And that doesn't mean replacing people with robots. That's exactly not what it means. What it does mean is looking at our processes really, really critically and looking where some of those processes that are more administratively driven can be much more streamlined. And that's from an internal perspective, but also from the customer's point of view. So self-service is really, really key, and how can we help to improve that? Technology must support and not hinder us. So it is fair to say that we have quite a few systems at Cosmos at the moment that are hindering us. We are one of these organisations that Paul mentioned earlier who do have lots of legacy systems, and we do have the challenges that go along with that. And that does mean that we have had to sort of compensate with some of our processes. So really making sure that the technology supports us to enable us to craft those products with as much simplicity as possible. Agility, we need to be agile as a company, and that's sort of agile with a small a and agile with a large a. So we do adopt agile processes in terms of how we manage our projects. We are running a website redevelopment project at the moment, and that uses Scrum, and I'm a real advocate of Scrum in terms of website development because it allows you to be iterative and really, really flexible and sort of respond as you go through. And we need to have consistent multi-channel communication touch points. And so what we're doing is looking at how we integrate our contact center in with our other touch points. So how do we make that really, really streamlined through things like web chat, getting our contact center much more involved in social media. And finally, crafted with care. And this is really, really important because culture is probably one of the most underestimated elements of digital transformation. It really does start with the people, and taking a workforce with you is really, really critical to success on the digital transformation journey. As is understanding your customers. So, we've been spending a lot of time creating customer forum, customer groups. I've been running customer focus groups over the last couple of months to really, really understand what it is that our customers want from us. And as part of that, using that feedback and having a continuous improvement loop. And again, that's a very, very different way of working for a lot of businesses because it does mean challenging yourselves all the time and continually sort of critiquing how you can make things better. So this lovely little diagram is something I just sort of knocked together to show where we're focusing at the moment. So the line at the bottom is interesting. I really don't like the phrase digital transformation. And the reason I don't like the phrase digital transformation is because it makes it sound like a thing. It makes it sound like a thing that is sort of unrelated to every other thing that you do. And for me, it's much more around business transformation. Digital is simply an enabler to that business transformation. You shouldn't have a digital strategy per se. You have a business strategy that has digital woven all the way through that. And I think when you look at kind of the scale of what some of the things that we're tackling at Cosmos at the moment, it really does bring it home that it is a complete transformation of the whole business ecosystem rather than sort of sitting in a digital team in marketing somewhere off in a corner. So the two key areas we're looking at the moment are the left-hand pillar, so creating a connected infrastructure. So I mentioned the website project. At the moment, we have 3 different content management systems that power our brand websites. So from an actual kind of process point of view, that's an absolute nightmare to manage. And it's really, really ineffective. It's very sort of time-consuming. The websites at the moment aren't responsive. So we really need to start again. But that really does mean starting with a blank sheet of paper and really working through what that architecture looks like. But as part of that, looking also at how our CRM system connects with that as well. So in a world where people expect to have personalised communications, to be able to do that, you need to be able to integrate all of your systems and understand where your customer data is held, take behavioural data from the website and make sure that all those different systems are talking to each other. And that does have an impact on our operations. So, actually remodelling how our teams work together and how our teams interact with those systems is all part and parcel of that piece of work. And on the right-hand side, organisation, As I said before, we can't underestimate the impact on an organisation when you go through digital transformation, and that's regardless of whether you're a 75-strong workforce or whether you're sort of 750,000. So the leadership part is really, really key. Digital transformation really must be led from the top. The work is led from the bottom up, but it really needs to be bought into from the top. We're really lucky. Our CEO is really, really a champion of digital. And so we've got a new leadership team in place, and we're really driving forward that digital change. And also crucial to the success of the organisation is having the right skill sets in that organisation too. So we're going through a process of sort of restructuring our organisation to make sure that we've got the right skill sets and the right roles in place. Again, being a team of 75, that doesn't give us sort of huge budgets and flexibility to work with, but to really make sure the people that we do have are fully skilled up to what they need to be able to do. And culture, how can we actually take that organisation with us through this process? We are transforming very, very quickly. I mean, I've only been here for 4 months, but even during that period of time, we're sort of completely unrecognisable from where we were 4 months ago. But at the heart of that really is, come back to that brand question and customer. How can we really build that value exchange between our brand and what the customer is asking from us? And that kind of spreads out to all those other lovely little bubbles around. All of those are the areas that we'll be working on over the next 12 to 24 months. And I say it's a really fast pace that we're working through, but there's going to be no stone left unturned throughout the organisation. And I think it's important that, quite often when you go to talks and you hear about all the kind of shiny new bits of technology, I'm a great believer in getting the foundations right. And I think, that for digital transformation purposes, you have a lot more within your gift, within your organisation, that you can transform rather than sort of going out and sort of making most of all the new sort of technology that's out there. That is really important. But I think, the real key is to get your foundations right, and that's really what we're focusing on at the moment. That's it from me.
Thank you, Claire. Fantastic. Some good food for thought there. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Daniel.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry about my English, but I will try to do my best. Not crossing to Spanish. But my name is Daniel Vishny. I'm working as a consultant marketing in GCH Hotel Group. GCH Hotel Group have more than 120 hotels, most of them in Germany. We work with big brands like Wyndham, Holiday Inn, Best Western, Accord. So this gives me an opportunity to test my case. When I think something about digital promotion, I have the possibility to test it. So what I brought today is my point of view, and especially what I'm doing for these hotels, for these brands, and you will help me with some of the slides here. First of all, things happened this year. Remember 2016. For the digital spectrum, many things have changed, and we are now in WTM. So for the travel market, many things will change and started to change 2 years ago, and this year we saw a big change in the hotel, in the OTAs, in the way the people booked. This is people in Taipei running after a Pokemon. This happened this year. The next video is a grandmother playing with virtual reality. So we had a Pokemon issue that we use it in the hotels. We have a VR issue here that we ask ourselves, the people will do something with it or only play with it? And the next video and the next picture is something amazing that happened some month ago when first Uber cars in Pittsburgh started to work by themselves, and only the driver is the one not controlling the car, but just controlling that everything, is working as expected. But what I'm showing here is trucks. Buses will come, trains will come, planes will come, But this is actually what's going on now. And in 2020, Fiat, Volvo, Mercedes already told us that they will have a self-driving car. What is this to the travel market? And I started to think for yourself, how many things will happen from the moment 80% of the people coming from the airport to the hotels will do in this time. They will have time to make, I don't know, maybe to wear some VR, to do the check-in, even to book a restaurant. Think what it's beginning this year, 2016. Now, let's continue. 3.1 devices connected to the internet the people are using now in Europe. Now, I expect next year will be 4 and 5. You know, how many people have their mobile here? And I see their faces like this every couple of minutes. So, you know, almost everybody. And I have my iPad here. I have my desktop. So it's 3 devices. This year, the people started with the watches. I will have mine next month, a beautiful one. It's called Tickware, something beautiful. But the people are joining themselves, you know, by passing information when they do health things. Or the people are more and more connected. And they will be more connected. And we know that what the people are doing. And the people are doing, most of this is communicating. And you know, without, sex and entertainment, most of the things that people are sharing are location. Are when they are in trouble, almost everybody will take a selfie, will take a picture and send to their families, put in the social media. So again, this is digital. People are waking up in the morning. The first thing what I do is looking if somebody, you know, if I have any important message or something. But this is what the people actually are doing. And then, you know, when they eat, we see them. They eat, they take a bite and they see the iPad. Or like me, you know, I eat over the iPad. And then they are driving. And even people in a motorcycle. And, in the U.S., 60% of the accidents are now people, texting while they are driving, even in a motorcycle. And I have the opportunity, not so nice opportunity, to see an accident of a motorcycle person texting and, going through a wall. What is happening to us? And what is happening to us? After working, going to bed, we know this because we do it. I call it digital adoption, and it's a digital sense. I'm calling it digital sense because we have it in our hands. We are very powerful now. If I will tell you 20 years ago that we will talk with people from the distance, that we will move things from the distance, that we will connect to higher sources and ask Google what's the weather in wherever I'm going, or what's, sometimes a health question. I have a heart pain. What do I have to do, before I call the doctor? And tell the doctor later that I was in Google and that is why I called you. And the other thing we are having, and this is something I'm working for the past 6 years in virtual reality, so we are having out-of-body experience when we use this kind of devices. This I call digital sense, and this is the power that we have now. Everybody has them. It's not 20 years ago. We have them, we live with them, and we are adopting it in a speedy way. We see our children, they are just using it. And I'm talking now, I'm an educator too, but, I will talk only about travel because we need to think a lot as parents what to do with this adoption. But let's talk about travel. And in the travel, as I said before, we now move things, we now turn the lights on. When I go to my office, I have a Misfit watch. And when I go inside my office, the lights turns on because the Bluetooth know that I'm inside the office. So yes, I am adopting technology. I'm talking to Google. I'm talking to Google, I'm talking to my Siri, and 2 days ago, Samsung say, I am doing a voice assistant as well. 2 days ago, 2016. So voice, yes, voice is and will be very important. The devices we are using are, I don't know, we will use them, I think maybe 5 more years, 6 more years, we will have different way of communication. Universities are working on NUI, natural user interface, and this is what I think will happen. Maybe people will start to walk in the street doing like this. I don't know, we will see. And virtual reality is amazing, and I am here trying, if somebody didn't adopt it, just to give a wake-up pill a little bit. Let's talk about travel. The travel, this is something happening now, and it's a bit of expectations. Remember, I'm working with 130 hotels. This is some tens of thousands of rooms every day that we need to fill. So I need to understand this adoption as a digital marketing consultant. I need to understand this to see how can I engage my guests, my potential guests. So what are they expecting from me? We know that they expect me to be everywhere, in every device, not only on desktop, not only on mobiles, but on multi-device issue. They need for me to be fast. They will not wait more than 2 seconds. 3 seconds was past here. Now it's 2 seconds. If I cannot deliver an availability of a room, so talk with the person. The person will not wait more than 3 seconds. Robots, assistants, the people want me to be there with voice, to be there to assist them, they can speak with them. If I will speak to Google, to Siri, to Samsung in a couple of months, they expect me to be there. So I need to be there. Again, virtual reality. Can we go? Just 2 examples. One is Booking.com of one of our nice Swiss hotel near Düsseldorf. This is what I see. Now, before you go to the other one, this is what most of the people see. Today, the OTA for an hotel is a partner. It's sort of, we don't fight with the OTAs. It's a partner. He is showing out my hotel. Now, if I show somebody from the Swiss, I want him to come to my Swiss hotel, I will show this. Or I will show the other one in my website or in Google Places, where I can show him actually how it feels to be. It takes only 320 euro for a camera. And to put it in the middle, and then to adopt, it's a lot of players. It's not the money. It's the way of thinking that the hotels needs to understand, need to change. Now, let's go back to the presentation. So we are adopting virtual reality in our websites, and even if you go to GCH Hotel Group portal, you will see a link to our virtual reality portal. So if somebody has a headset, or somebody wants to move the mouse and see around our hotels, he goes now to our virtual reality portal. In the arriving stages, so we talked about the cars, the Uber cars. We talked about the opportunity we have when the people will take a train from Luton or from anywhere to the hotel. What he will do at that time. What the hotel can offer him before he arrives to the hotel. Why he needs to stay for a check-in. We need to think of this timing that we have to communicate to our guests. They are already our guests. They are coming to the hotel. What can we offer them? In the arriving, the same. We can already invite them. If we are stressing the desk, we can invite them to drink something. We can start to connecting with them. This gap between the arriving of the guest and the actually coming to the hotel, you stop me if I'm... So this time, this gap, we can connect with them. And they are waiting for our connection. Sorry. Arriving to the hotel? Yes. The check-in, we spoke so much every year. People don't want to stand 10 minutes for the check-in. They want to come to the hotel, and the hotel already personalized them. They know who they are. They just can go with their car, with the keys, maybe in their phones already, and just go to the room. Why this gap? Hotels need to think about this. Hotel that will have this non-waiting time for the check-in, they will be a success. And some hotels are already implemented. These online keys, these online check-ins. This is the most important timing when a guest is coming to the hotel already. This I call the experiencing stage. What the hotel is doing for this person, this guest, that came through the OTAs, maybe through booking.com, maybe not direct to my website. Maybe he doesn't know my brand. What can I do for him when he is already in the hotel? How can I gain his next booking directly with my website, directly with me? So this is, again, we think digital. We think, how can we approach them? For sure, not all the world is digital. An approach of a GM coming to the guest and saying hello in the breakfast, I think it's huge. Maybe more important than digital. But think digital, how can we approach them? Well, in the States, the same. Thank you very much. This is it.
Thanks, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel, for that. So 3 fantastic presentations there. I've got some questions to ask. Who'd like to ask a question amongst you? Just raise your hand, and we'll run a microphone around. Yes, so just keep your hand up till the young lady arrives. And what would be very helpful is if you can tell us who you are and where you're from. It just puts your question in context. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gille Hepper. I was one of the founding partners of a very digital hotel chain called HTL Hotels. We had mobile keys 2.5 years ago with great success. My concern is when now everything is becoming more and more digital, the integrity part. Because in order for all the digital systems to be very smart and provide the best experience for the guest or the traveler, then you need to let go of more and more information by yourself. I remember a couple of years ago of Facebook, the login on certain sites, that was abandoned more or less because you didn't want to give away. How do you see on this in the future?
Daniel, would you like to take this one? The concerns of people about giving over their data to third parties, which is a very, very now topic because it's all about personalization and customization. But you're saying that you think people might be concerned about giving too much of their personal information.
Exactly, because
Yes.
you have a trend of people
Daniel,
starting
do you have a thought on
to
that?
shut off.
I can only give my experience. I told you I came from the education part. And I think 10 years ago, some of the things that I explained to the children, watch out what you're putting in Facebook, the pictures and the things, everything doesn't disappear in somebody, okay. And the same I did for professionals later on. Today, you remember the adoption, the digital sense? I see the people opening themselves completely. One, because sometimes they don't have any chance to do otherwise, because if I don't put a picture, my friend will, But this is the society we are in. We are now, sometimes if we even don't like to or don't want to, as a person, maybe I can do it. As a professional, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to stop because we have Google that is, even if we didn't stop him, he's even tracking where we are going. And even we don't know that. And yes, this is a problem. And I hope very much that systems or governments are limiting these companies and the data. And I hope very much that they are fighting for discover a bad use of this data. But it's an adoption as we see it's happening with the mobiles. People are anyway opening themselves, putting more and more information inside, more and more pictures. I didn't show it, but the number of data of trillions of points of information that we are sharing with our social media, Facebook, Google. It's amazing. And it's not stopping.
And Daniel, I also think it's a generational thing as well. I believe that younger generations are becoming more accepting of giving of themselves, their data, provided they get some benefit in return, which they do in personalization. Arno, let me ask you a question, because you showed us a map of the world and showed us where you're operating. All over the world you're operating. And of course, that is the big aspect of this online digital world, is when we're online, when we're digital, we are available across the world. I'm just wondering, you've got your 1,000 engineers working in your business. How much difference that your development has to be for the different cultures in the world that you're addressing? So a website or app that might work well in France or maybe in the USA, might it be different in the Far East? Might you have to have different websites and different apps for different cultures? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we actually have 3 different business units, one in France, which is the biggest one because this is where we're coming from. We've got the European one and we've got overseas. Obviously, we operate in very different manners in these 3 areas because we also have direct sales force going to the B2B market in let's say in the 3 business units. And when it comes to digital, then we need to think how we adapt things culturally. But if you think about Amazon, BlaBlaCar, and all these big brands, they have like a core system and they really marginally adapt things so that it can create value because it costs quite a lot of money to develop all these nice features and you can't really tailor-made everything. But you need to adapt sometimes things like payments. For instance, payment habits are quite different. So you for instance, will have the need of more PayPal solutions in Germany than anywhere else. And I can think of other payment solutions which are specific to countries. But other than that, it's pretty similar. We come back to the fact that we need to be simple for everyone. It goes back to the roots of who you are. If you're distributing train tickets, what you need to do is to distribute tickets easily and smoothly for let's say, a European audience or world audience. And that's pretty standard, I would say. And to piggyback on what was said just before, I think the importance of the brand is actually also very important because you trust more a brand you know than something you don't know. And this is why also we put a lot of money and effort in the marketing because this is where you actually also raise your awareness, but also the trust that you have with your customer. And once you've got the trust and awareness, you can travel everywhere.
Okay, fine. Just still with you as a Slido question, Arno. What are you planning any additional countries, to add any additional countries in 2017 to your portfolio?
Well, no, we are already operating in quite a lot of countries, so it's not like an expanding solution all over the world. We have it's more languages that are important. We have a feature and we develop now the languages, but once you've got the 5 or 6, 7 main languages and you've got an English-speaking website, then it's probably good enough to travel in many countries.
Fine, Claire, a question for you to address, and I'm a bit worried that you like to call digital transformation business transformation, because I just rebranded my business with the words digital transformation, so I have to do another rebrand next year now. I'm already out of date. But there's a question here on Slido that I suppose with your experience, you're beyond Cosmos, because you've only been there 4 months, is any thinking on how hotels and travel companies might help customers unwind who actually want to get away from the digital world and don't want to be checking their email all the time?
I think that's such an interesting question. I think there's a natural tension, isn't there, between people wanting to get away from technology and then when the reality actually hits, people then panic because then they can't keep in touch with people. I think it's a really interesting dilemma. I suppose just by offering choice, you know, it's not sort of technology that's forced down your throat, rather than, you know, sort of having that option to kind of use technology or to completely disengage whilst you're on holiday. I think is really important. Because I think if you feel forced into that kind of technology bubble and you're not you're not comfortable with. And I think for an older traveller particularly, you know, there's still that kind of, that sense of sort of cynicism and mistrust and sort of fear of using technology. I think, you know, to have that choice is really important.
Do you think there's any mileage in a travel company offering a destination, a resort, where actually there is no access to digital technology whatsoever? You arrive and you can't use your mobile phone? I can't imagine staying there myself. I'd be horrified.
I think digital detoxes are becoming more and more commonplace, aren't they?
Digital
But so
detox, yes.
whether you can cope with having that for 2 weeks, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to cope, but I'm sure there are lots of people who would appreciate being able to go into the sticks and not have a mobile signal and completely detox. It'd be quite refreshing.
Hands up who'd like to do that. Oh,
There we
quite!
go.
I'm surprised. Quite a few of you. Well done. Who'd like to ask another question? Okay, let me ask a question. Daniel.
One at the back.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you. Yes, perhaps you can tell us who you are, where you're from. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yes, I'm from France. I'm Mathieu Degas. I'm working for a digital marketing company. I'm working at the moment on a white paper on the future of online booking for hotels. So I have a question probably for Daniel. You talked a little about your relationship and your partnership with sites like Booking.com, Agoda, and I would like to know how you see the future of this relationship, how it's going to evolve. Do you think you're going to get more booking directly on your website, where probably you can offer a better experience, or is that going to be maybe a closer relationship, maybe ways to work together to propose this enhanced experience? How do you think that's going to work, actually?
Because actually, Daniel, a lot of people are not as kind to Booking.com as you are. They charge enormous commissions and have a real grasp of the market, mainly based on their multi-million, billion euro expenditure on promoting themselves online.
This is
Not that I want to be unkind to them.
This is an excellent question. I will explain what my approach is. I see them as partners, and especially now, when people are so connected, that when they find an hotel in Booking.com, and this is because what you were talking about, the trust, you know, the people they are already working with Booking.com, they have good experience, so they go to Booking.com anyway, they start their search there. Then, before they book, and this is our opportunity, and this is happening, this is the new, let's say, customer journey for hotels, people cut and paste the hotel name and put it in Google. If you go to one of our hotels, from GCH hotels, you will see all our standalone hotels are in the first place. Before the OTAs, as an answer, and I'm not talking about paid, this is SEO. And we are seeing the people are coming to the hotel page, because each hotel has its own website, its own domain, and the people are coming to the hotel page, and then sometimes they decide to book again through Booking.com, DHL, or whatever, HDL, or they are booking with us. And this is the opportunity for the hotels. If they can show in their page, again, a better price maybe, better pictures, a video, a possibility to upgrade, a communication way, the people will stay with the hotel brand, with the hotel website, and they will book with it. So this, for me, the OTAs is a huge opportunity. Now, a bit of the future. OTAs are changing the way they communicate. It's not only the percentage of the commission, it's the way they transfer data. Again, today, if you have the guest already in your hotel, and he came through an OTA, it doesn't matter if you will treat in the experiencing stage. You remember the experiencing stage. If you have there the opportunity to have him for the next trip, or to have his friend or his family for the next trip. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Daniel. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to move on to the next session, so let's thank Arno, Claire, Daniel for a fantastic first session. Thank you, guys. We're going to take 5 minutes just to swap microphones around, so this is a chance for you to